There's a new boogeyman supplement in town, and it goes by the name
Kratom.
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 Kratom plant.
It is advertised and sold under any form you can think of. Organic kratom powder, kratom teas, kratom extracts, products like feel-free shots that have become super controversial lately. And some products, like 7-OH pills, have become so controversial that the government is scheduling them next to crack and heroin in Schedule I drug classification.
They're putting them around schools, they're putting them in our poorest neighborhoods, and now they're putting them in every gas station.
And surprisingly, this isn't like a left versus right issue. It seems like pretty much everyone's pretty confused on how to deal with this stuff. Doctors, ERs, addiction centers. It's kind of a mystery to a lot of people. How do we address kratom? Is it the next best thing, or is it the worst thing to happen to our country, right? Luckily, I actually know a lot about this subject, so we will answer damn near everything that everyone is talking about. Is it an opioid? Is it addictive? How addictive is it? How deadly is it? Can it be good for depression or anxiety? All that. But on top of that, we can also cover what does it feel like? And if you get addicted, what do the withdrawals look like? I'm very excited for this episode. And let's begin with the plant. Mitragyna speciosa. So, what is kratom? Kratom is this. It's a leaf from a tree. That's it. It smells like green tea. It smells very similar to matcha, actually. A lot of people say it smells like matcha, and I can smell it. So this tree, the kratom tree, is native to Southeast Asia. Think of places like Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, and in a lot of those places, what they call it is kratom. That's where we get the name kratom from, a mispronunciation of kratom. And it has been used in those cultures for generations, but in a very different way than the way we do it over here.
In Thailand, Indonesia, when you're chewing these things, you're chewing up like around 20 a day sometimes, just like constantly every like 40 minutes. You just pick one off the tree and chew it because you're just out there working in the rubber plantations all day long. It's hot.
So this is my friend Soren, and he would not call himself this, but he is like an actual kratom expert. And while I was visiting him, he showed me that he actually had a very rare thing, which is a kratom tree growing in his living room. And why that is so rare is because the kratom trees you really only find usually in Southeast Asia because they're very sensitive as far as humidity or as far as dynamics of temperature. Like, they're kind of fussy, but he had one growing in his house. And so I thought, what a great way to start this video as demonstrating how kratom is originally done for generations, where it's from.
Put it in your cheek, sort of like chew on it a little bit and let it in your cheek and sort of just kind of like slowly for the next like 2 minutes, like expressing saliva in and out of it.
Cheers.
It's a treat, chewing kratom leaves.
It is, it's a special. Oh, that's disgusting.
I find the fresh leaves to be stimulating.
Yeah, stimulating. That's what I'm getting right now. Yeah, stimulating. It was giving like try not to puke, really. It tastes bad. It tastes very bad. It's bitter as shit. Maybe a little sour, like a weird, but... The reason people in Indonesia or Thailand chew on kratom is very similar to why people in Peru chew on coca leaves, or why in America we might drink coffee. It's kind of the thing that you do to help you operate through the day. Kratom is said in Southeast Asia to have stimulating or energizing effects while also being sedating at the same time, and also help with your pain. So if you're working in the rubber field or working a manual labor job where you have just body aches and pains, it will help you just gradually deal with the day and get through the day. But when kratom came to America, it changed a lot. But do you know who hasn't changed a lot? Today's sponsor, Norspore. This is actually a really cool one for me. I've been a fan of Norspore for literally years now. I remember learning how to grow in a monotub, watching their old YouTube video about how to grow in a monotub. None of your business what I was growing in a monotub. It was shiitake, probably. Yep. It's a pleasure and an honor to be sponsored by them. And what are they? They're a mushroom company, but what is really cool about them is they're a mushroom company that sells products for you to grow mushrooms at home at every level. At the basic level, if you want to grow things like lion's mane, which is one of my favorite mushrooms, it tastes amazing, but you can't find it at a grocery store, you just get a box like this, open it, spray it twice a day, and then you get lion's mane that you can cut off and then cook up anytime you want. That's a baby one. But let's say you're a little bit more advanced and want to move on from this. Hold on. They have sterilized grain spawn, sterilized substrate, and if you don't know what any of this is, you kind of have to grow mushrooms to know it. So do it. It's legitimately super easy and very fun, and they have literally everything you need. You need monotubs, cultures, humidifiers, or mushroom teas and tinctures, legal mushroom teas and tinctures. This is one of those perfect sponsors where I actually love their product, and this isn't like a huge corporation. This is on some like homie stuff. Like the owner, I hit him up and I was like, hey, I need a sponsor, and he's like, yeah, I got you. Like, this is not a big corporation. Like, Matt, thank you so much, by the way. Thank you so much for helping me out. So click on the link in the description or just go to northspore.com and buy yourself stuff and tell them I sent you. Bye-bye.
So when a lot of people started hearing about Kratom, including myself, it was around the 2010s. And it was kind of this nerdy internet Reddit thing. Like, it was like this, people would talk about it on forums about, oh, you know, it's this, you know, natural plant and all that. But it was kind of all over the place how people talked about it and how it was advertised. You would have people say that it was very sedating, that it helped them sleep. Some people said that they used it for their anxiety or their depression. And then some people would say it's really stimulating, like it's almost like coffee. People would say things like, well, it's in the Rubiaceae family, which is where coffee is, so like it's related to coffee, which so is Ipecac from the Amazon rainforest. That's also in the Rubiaceae family, so that doesn't really mean much, but okay. But the really cool thing was, and this is a bit of an ethnobotany 101 type of thing, is what was happening with Kratom at this phase of this we didn't know how to deal with it, is actually exactly what happens in every culture every time a new substance is introduced. It's like a phenomenon. What happens is when you introduce a new plant drug or a substance, whatever, to a culture that hasn't been exposed to it yet, the culture doesn't know how to use it yet. One of my favorite examples of this is actually with methamphetamine and like Adderall and like amphetamine class of drugs. Amphetamines were invented in the early 1900s, and when they were first invented, they were used for a million things. Narcolepsy, depression, asthma medications. Sometimes they would use them as congestion, like there's like nasal sprays that have speed in them that helps people with their congestion when they're sick. They even tried to use it to treat alcoholism, and then it slowly changed, and then it became, oh, we're gonna use meth and amphetamine for like weight loss stuff, and for decades it was used as weight loss medication. And then finally, we in our culture have settled into the point where amphetamines are kind of seen as this medication for people with ADHD, right? Why did I say it like that? ADHD. ADHD. It sounded weird. But do you see the similarities with Kratom? It's new to our culture. We don't really know exactly how to use it because just like all substances, you can use it in a lot of different ways. As we'll examine and I'll show you, it can be sedating. It can be used for withdrawal from opioids. It can be used for pain. It can be fun. So yeah, let's try some.
So I want to show how Kratom has been done progressively over time, right? We started out with just the fresh leaf, the way that has been done for literally hundreds of years in Asia, right? And now we're going to do this next generation, this stuff from the 2010s, and it still exists today. And how they used to do it and how I got introduced to doing it is this. This is powderized Kratom. They just took the leaf and then they made it into a powder. It's very fine powder similar to matcha. Now you'd think that doing the fresh leaf and then just drying it and then powderizing it wouldn't change much, right? It's the exact same thing. There's nothing added to this, right? Well, this is actually very different than doing the fresh stuff. And one of the biggest reasons why that is the case is because you can do a lot more with this. And this is why I said Kratom, when it got to the States, changed a lot. Just this small change, you basically have a new substance. New problems started to arise from this. You started to have people who would start out at an ordinary dose, which is around 2 to 3 grams, okay? But then they might get into a habit of doing it every night, and then their tolerance goes up. Now they need 6 grams. Now they need 8 grams. It wouldn't be uncommon sometimes for some people to take like 28 grams. I've heard of people taking 50 grams every day. That's a lot of powder, by the way. That is an insane amount of powder. And one of the most famous cases of this was actually the YouTuber Psych Substances. He was a guy that a lot of us grew up with. He talked about drug safety and harm reduction on YouTube. And then you saw him try Kratom on video. And he started out like everyone does, like, oh my God, this stuff is awesome. Like I use it, like, I forgot all the stuff he claimed, but you know, he was a big proponent for it. It helped him a lot in that point of his life. But then as time passed, his videos started to be, oh, maybe this stuff isn't so great. And then he started to go video after video of, oh my God, like I'm addicted. Oh my God, I relapsed. Oh my God, it's ruining my life. Oh my God, it's ruining like my marriage and like all of this stuff. And it was pretty public. It was pretty scary. And a lot of the time he would blame Kratom on a lot of his life problems, and it was because he was addicted to it, and he truly was. And this is not to throw shade. I think he's grown a lot on his stance on this, and he doesn't really blame the powder anymore. He like takes some accountability on himself and all that kind of stuff. I'm not here to throw shade, nothing but love for him, okay? But he is not alone. I have also been addicted to this stuff. I've been doing Kratom for like probably close to 4 or 5 years now, and for the most part, I have a healthy relationship to it, but it wasn't a month ago that I was doing 7-OH pills like every single night, and I went through withdrawal, and you're about to see my withdrawal later in the video. But now I have a pretty healthy relationship. I think I've done Kratom 1 time in the last month. That's just what life is, you know? Sometimes you drink alcohol a little bit too often. You get a habit of having a glass of wine every single night, and then life gets better, and then you don't do it because you don't need it as much, and then you might get back into it, and then might go out of it, and might get really bad. You know, this is life, and it's really not the powder's fault or the alcohol's fault. It's you. You got to take accountability. It's on you. But this does answer one of our questions. Is Kratom addictive? It depends on the person, but yep, it definitely can be. Most people barely like it, but to certain people, it is very appealing. And to show how appealing it can be and what benefit it can give to some, let me try Kratom. After I let some full-grown men choke me out at jiu-jitsu practice. It's for science. My body hurts, and I had a lot of people try to break my arms today. Hold on, let me take a shower. Oh my God. With just doing jiu-jitsu, like I just have aches and pains all over my body. My left toe hurts. I have a major kink in my neck that I've had for like weeks. So I'm gonna show you how I have done Kratom in the past and continue to do Kratom. Right here we have 6 grams of powder, okay? I'm going to put it in this glass. You get a drink of your choice, and you mix it in. You don't want to mix too much because the more you mix in, the more you have to drink. And this stuff is gross. When I get that feeling, I want sexual heat. There are many methods to do this, by the way. There's like the toss and wash. There's people will put them in capsules and just take the capsules, but you kind of have to take a lot of capsules to get a dose. I just do this. It's gross as hell, but it gets the job done. Now we're gonna drink. Cheers. Oh my fucking God. That's fucking foul. Oh! Every time. Now we wait about an hour. Hey sisters, it's bedtime for me. But it's been an hour and I'm feeling it. I've felt this about 1 million times, but it really does feel pretty much the same every time. I feel very relaxed, very, I guess, a sense of peace for me. All aches and pains that I feel in my body are greatly reduced. I mean, the kinks in my neck are almost gone. But these effects that I feel are actually quite subtle. So I do not feel like my mental processes are any different. The way I often describe it is it feels like a warm comfort blanket. It feels almost like you're cuddling someone you care about type of thing. And to clarify, that's what I feel, right? A lot of people do not feel that, but for me, that's what I feel. I feel like I'm ready for bed. I have a little kombucha, some goat cheese and crackers. I'm kind of reminded why I do get addicted to this stuff, because this feeling, like, you just get so used to just like wanting this feeling every night, you know, just like, oh, I had a good day, I trained good, I did a lot of hard work, like I treat myself to this, and I would just feel like, oh, what a great way to end the night, right? But nothing is for free in this world. Okay, it's nerdy time. It's time to talk about the pharmacology. And you guys are going to love this. We're going to explain exactly what was happening in my body, why I felt those things. We're going to learn a lot about how drugs act in your body. You're going to love this. So first things first, as far as ethnobotany and like plant drugs, Kratom is honestly one of the most chemically complex plants that I can think of. It has like well over 50 compounds that do completely different things in the body. There's serotonergic activity, there's adrenergic activity, there's opioid action, all within this one plant, and you don't need to know what any of that means. Basically, this one plant does a lot of stuff in your body, and it's very complex. But there is one compound in it that you should know that does most of the heavy lifting, and that is called mitragynine. Mitragynine is actually technically an opioid, but we call it an atypical opioid. And this is where we need to zoom out a little bit and talk about opioids and receptors and how they act in the body so we can understand what's so weird and atypical about mitragynine. So opioids are a class of medication or drugs that treat pain by acting on the opioid receptors in our body. And there are 3 opioid receptors you should really know. There's kappa, there's delta, and the mu opioid receptors. And you don't need to memorize all 3, but all you need to know is that the mu one, that one is the one that we associate most with like the opioid feel, like the relaxation, the euphoria, the pain relief, the opioid feel. Now, the way that typical opioids work in our body, and these are things like fentanyl, heroin, morphine, oxy, Percocet, right? The way they work is that when they enter our body, they are opioid receptor agonists. And what that word agonist means is that when it gets to the opioid receptor, the mu opioid receptor, it binds with it and says, hey, do your thing, right? Release the chemicals you need to release, do whatever it needs to do. I don't even really know. That's what an agonist is. And the opposite of an agonist is an antagonist. And that's actually what Narcan is, or naloxone. It actually does the opposite. So when it binds to the receptors, it tells the receptor, hey, stop. Like mu receptor, stop doing what you're doing immediately. And that's why it saves people's lives, because if someone's overdosing on fentanyl or heroin or whatever, they'll be like going out, and because they have too much agonism of the mu opioid receptor, and this will actually kick that drug off and say, hey, stop. And that's an antagonist. But there's a third option, and that is what we call a partial agonist. Now, what a partial agonist does is kind of exactly what you'd think. It binds to the receptor, but it doesn't say go full blown or stop. It says, okay, do your thing, but don't do it too much, right? And that's exactly what mitragynine is. It's a partial mu opioid receptor agonist. That's a crazy string of words, but now you understand what every word in that means. Isn't that cool? And why the fact that it's a partial agonist is so cool is because let's say you're getting high on mitragynine, on kratom, right? And you're feeling I'm feeling this opioid high. And you say, ooh, I want to get higher. And so you take more, right? Well, with heroin and fentanyl and all the typical opioids, you just take more and you'll get higher. But the problem is if you keep going, you overdose, you die, because you'll become so relaxed, you'll literally suffocate. Your breathing will become so depressed, you'll stop breathing, right? But with a partial agonist, you don't get to. You can try, but the fact that it's a partial agonist will stop you from trying to get too high. It's like having like a mom, like you can have fun, but don't have too much fun, and it'll like slap out of your hand, like no more. That's just built into the drug's chemistry. Like that's sick. But this is also why we call mitragynine and kratom as an atypical opioid. It doesn't act the same as other opioids. It has a bit of like a limiting thing. It keeps you safe. I just learned there's actually a proper term for this phenomenon called the ceiling effect in pharmacology. The ceiling effect is exactly what we're talking about. You can really only get so much of a response and then it caps out. There's a ceiling. Kind of cool. And if you've ever heard of like Suboxone clinics, like people who are getting off of hard opioids like heroin or fentanyl or whatever pills, they will give them Suboxone, which is it's a blend medication. But Suboxone is a partial agonist. It's a partial agonist, but yet kratom is literally just a natural version of a partial agonist. So what I'm telling you is that Suboxone, these clinics that people, it's so exhausting to go to. It can be cost prohibitive. It can be hard to find one near you, right? People will drive out of their way to go to the Suboxone clinic to keep themselves from going through withdrawal. Kratom can literally do that for you at home. Now, I'm not saying that kratom can replace Suboxone. I'm not a doctor. I don't know enough about this. There's also reasons for Suboxone to be better. Like, for example, Suboxone has a higher affinity to the opioid receptor. It's so there's reasons. What I am saying is that the timing of kratom and when it came to America is almost divine. Here you have America going through this opioid crisis where there's tons of people hooked on opioids and they feel like there's no way out for a million reasons. But then this plant comes that acts on the opioid receptor, can help them with withdrawals, can help them get off, and that's exactly what happened. People got off hard opioids, got off heroin because of kratom. A lot of people counter this by saying, well, a lot of these people just got hooked on kratom, so they just replaced another addiction, so is it really that great? And I respond to that as, fuck yes. So you're right.
Many people got off opioids using Kratom and now just like use Kratom. But the major difference is that the people who are now hooked on Kratom no longer have to worry about their drug of choice being cut with something that will randomly kill them. They no longer have to worry about overdoses because it's a partial agonist. They don't have to worry about getting so high that they can't operate basic functions in the day because it's a partial agonist. You can only get so high. So it single-handedly saved many people's lives that could have overdosed but didn't. Now to clarify, everything I've been talking about is with powdered Kratom. It is, I'm not even including the stuff that we're about to talk about. But as we tend to do in the West, we took this Kratom plant and we made it even more addictive. And thus we enter the next stage of Kratom consumption, which I'm going to go get it right now. What's up, bro? Could I get one feel-free shot?
Oh, well, feel free.
Yep. Thank you so much, bro.
What's up, man? Take care.
You too.
Good luck.
Thanks.
When Kratom extracts like OPMS or MIT or feel-free shots came on the scene, it not only changed the Kratom industry pretty quickly, but also it had a pretty big impact on smoke shops and gas stations across the country. It used to be that if you wanted to do Kratom, you had to get powder from a very specific smoke shop that you knew that had it, or you went online to get it, and then you'd have to know how to work with this green powder stuff, which scared off a lot of regular people. But when these little shots that were Kratom, but were concentrated into this little 5-hour energy type of package, regular people who had no idea what Kratom was just picked them off the shelf and gave it a try.
The most fucked up drink you can buy at a gas station, a lot of people don't realize this, I think it's worse than lean, and that's called Feel Free.
3 years ago, I unknowingly spiraled into a severe addiction to an herbal tonic called Feel Free.
Hi guys, my name is Jasmine. I was addicted to the little blue bottles called Feel Free.
This shit is being called gas station heroin.
God, I have to try really hard not to be upset. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. What made extract such a game changer was not only the fact that it was exposing Kratom to a whole bunch of people who were not drug nerds anymore. That was problem number one. The bigger problem was something that actually, if you knew Kratom at that time, we already kind of knew, which was you don't play with extracts if you do Kratom powder. The reason being is that Kratom extracts, and I talk about this in my first video that blew up 2 years ago, they fuck your tolerance. And mind you, these do not have any molecule that's really different than Kratom. It's still mostly mitragynine, but it is so much mitragynine packed into a small package that people lose track of how many times they're fucking chugging these things, often leading to dependence, addiction, and eventually withdrawal. But this is not unique to Kratom in the slightest bit, and I actually have a 100-year-old book that shows a very good point. This is a book about the Peruvian coca plant, which is where we get cocaine from. And in the book, he talks about when coca leaves were first introduced into Europe, there was like these studies of, oh, it's kind of interesting, and then it was also sold as just actual leaves in some drug shops. But then he says eventually, quote, coca soon declined until disuse almost left it in forgetfulness. People thought it wasn't interesting enough until they found cocaine in it, and all of a sudden, coca's the new, oh my gosh. Translation, when we had the plant, everyone was like, yeah, this is kind of fun, but it's all right, leading to healthy, moderate use. But then once they made an extract out of it, cocaine, the rest is history. Now we're sucking people's gas stations to get it. Anyways, let's give this a shot, and I have a special guest that you guys will love. Mic check, say something.
Say something.
Say more things.
Say more things.
You're annoying.
I'm annoying. Peanut butter sandwiches.
I'm cutting you off. This is the Grand Poobah, my mom.
I don't think that sounds very complimentary.
The Grand Poobah? I had to look up if it was racist. It's not racist.
Oh, well, that's good. It's always good to check
What does the
that.
Grand Poobah mean?
I don't know.
I think it's just like the boss man.
Oh, okay, well, I like
No,
that.
but like in an ironic bad way.
Oh.
You've had versions of this before.
I have?
I remember that powder, and then you called me a pussy because I was like, this tastes gross. And you're like, it's not that bad.
I really don't think I would call my son a pussy.
I swear to God, verbatim, you called me a pussy. I swear to God you did.
Well, it's not recorded, so
It didn't happen. She's
No.
never tried this ever.
Am I gonna like it? Am
The
I gonna
feeling or the taste?
Am I gonna sleep? Yeah, the taste, I've given up on it being good at all.
Yeah.
Do I not need to take my melatonin tonight?
It might help you get to sleep. It might help you get to sleep. The quality of sleep might be reduced, but it'll help you get to sleep.
So it is. Have you seen these before?
Nope.
You've never heard of them. Feel
Nope.
free. So
No.
this is the new like thing that everyone's like, this is ruining America. Like it's like these feel free shots. These people are getting addicted. These innocent.
Is it Kratom?
It's Kratom.
Too?
Yeah, it is
Oh.
exactly. But people just don't. Does it say Kratom on there?
No.
Exactly.
Oh, so people that really don't do their research.
Exactly. Like people, but it's like it's all natural botanicals. It is literally all natural plant stuff. So people are like, oh, it's natural.
Yeah, that means nothing.
It doesn't mean nothing.
How much are you kidding me?
Half.
What do you usually take?
I would never take this shit. Oh, yum, yum. Smell it. Nothing.
Great.
It's not that bad? Yeah, we'll see if I'm a pussy again, I guess. Guess your son's a pussy. Someone had to raise him, so.
Wait, we should know what time. Isn't it on your thing?
Dude.
I'm the one staying home. Just give it. I'll do it all. No, just kidding.
Yeah, you would not have a good time. You would probably puke.
Oh, I don't want to puke. I don't like puking.
Yeah. Most people don't. Yeah.
Some people do.
I gotta cut that out. That's crazy. Cheers. Join the Patreon to see the unedited version.
That's not great.
That's
Go ahead.
okay. It tastes like vomit.
I mean, vomit is not an inaccurate.
It's kind of like
description.
vomit, right?
I don't know. I mean, it's just not great.
It's
Oh,
like-
it kind of numbs a bit.
That's the kava.
Oh, that's right, because I've had kava before.
Yeah.
So why do they put the kava with the kratom?
I mean, the whole sell is that it's like just uber relaxing. So you have the kava feeling, which is like, you know, that alcoholic feel, and then the kratom, which is that opioid feel, right? So like combined.
Oh, I forgot it was like an opioid.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
could be good.
I don't think you like opioids.
Oh, so much.
So gross. It is exactly 8. We took it at 8. It has been 45 minutes. What do you feel?
My back hurt before. Not a lot, but it took that away. And I just feel chill.
Chill.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I feel very chill.
I don't feel like it's a dramatic change.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling like. I'm like, oh.
Just kind of takes the edge off.
Yeah. If weirdly enough, usually I don't really feel the kava in this, but I feel the effects of kava right now. Yeah, the recommended dose of this stuff isn't super strong.
And not to state the obvious, but I am a larger individual.
Uh-huh.
And so, just the facts. It's probably gonna be a milder
That's
for
true.
me.
That's true.
But I appreciate you not thinking of that when you gave me the dose.
Want to take more?
No. You want me to take more?
Kinda.
How much more?
I don't know. If you're a pussy, you know, you don't have to. That's a callback.
You think that's gonna work on me?
Yeah, I think it will. It didn't. So I'm just gonna take a full bottle to show you guys what taking too much feels like and looks like, while we rattle off some fun facts about kratom before the true last section, which is 708. Cheers. Patreon. Ugh. That's fucking disgusting. Okay, it's been an hour and a half. I'm feeling it pretty hard. Kind of nice. It's just a little too much. Like, I feel nauseous. I feel very irritable. Like, the sound of my own voice is kind of annoying. Using kratom for anxiety and depression. This is very much my own opinion. I don't think it's a very wise idea, especially not for depression. As far as anxiety, it can have anxiolytic effects on the body. So some people do, especially in social situations where they want to calm down, they use it similar to alcohol where it just helps you unwind. But again, like, would you say alcohol is good for anxiety? Not really. I mean, I don't know. Using drugs to deal with anxiety and depression, not a great idea in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. Important note, it can also make those things worse. I've had worsened depression because of a dependence on kratom, so not my recommendation. Can you overdose on kratom? No and yes. Because kratom is an opioid, I think a lot of people assume that it will cause an overdose like another opioid, but as we discussed, it's an atypical opioid. It is a partial agonist. So we don't find people doing a lot of kratom and dying in the same way you do with like heroin or fentanyl. And in fact, this study, quote, says, "By any of our assessments, it appears that the risk of overdose death is 1,000 times greater for opioids than for kratom." So generally it is a very safe plan, especially when you're talking about the powder, but there is some reports of toxicity, but they are very few and far between. But honestly, even the reports that are, like maybe Kratom did it, it's just so many of them are misreported. The Tampa Bay Times did this bullshit thing about hundreds died from Kratom, and then literally in the paper goes, of the 530 people who died from Kratom in Florida, over 3/4 involved fentanyl. I wonder if the Kratom is what killed him or the fentanyl. That's a puzzle we might never get. Big caveat. I am not one of those guys that say Kratom is totally safe and most everything that's reported that's like a death or a toxicity is misreported. No, nothing is 100% safe. I have no interest in making that claim. We will still be learning stuff about Kratom use as time goes on. I have no interest in trying to report to you that like it's safe and all this is fear-mongering bullshit. Most of it's fear-mongering bullshit, but some of it can be valid, and I think that's fine to admit. If you give the public paper, some of them always figure out how to cut themselves. That's just the public. People misuse stuff. People get hurt. It's just the nature of life. So yes, I'm not going to delegitimize that there could be some concerns. There's also some health problems from heavy use that can affect your body that I've experienced. It might fuck up your sexual function, as it did for me. So, just important info. Since Kratom's addictive, can you use it without getting addicted? Yes. Millions of people have used Kratom for literally hundreds of years without getting addicted. It is very possible. That's why like watching those TikToks of all the people talking about the blue bottle like got them hooked and all that it's a little exhausting, and obviously I'm high right now, so I'm not super empathetic right now, but you'd hear these stories of people saying the blue bottle, like I got addicted to this Kratom stuff, and at my height of my addiction I was doing like 8 bottles a day. Like, just imagine if any other addict used that logic. If the gambler was saying, it's not my fault that I'm addicted to gambling, it's the casino's fault. Or if an alcoholic said, well, it's because alcohol is so addictive, that's why I'm addicted. It's like, none of us would accept that as true. We just say, you're not taking accountability. But I do have some sympathy because it is easier to quickly build a tolerance with these extracts because they're so potent as opposed to powder. That's why I do recommend, if you're gonna play with this stuff, powder. And on the topic of accountability, let's talk about 7-OH and my addiction.
Sometimes I have back pain, from just working, lifting shit in here, and I'm like, oh, maybe I want to take some. Then I see them come through the door, I'm like, no, you're not taking it.
Yep. Without being a judgy asshole, is there a look?
Yes.
Okay, what's the look?
The look is zoned out.
Oh, so they're high as they're coming. God damn.
Maybe not high, but maybe coming down, or maybe just needing the next one. So we get a container of them, like 20 of them.
Okay.
They're gone.
So you're saying people come in every day to get, or maybe every day, maybe every other day, regularly, to get a 10-pack?
100%. There's one dude that comes in every day for a 10-pack.
Yo, what the fuck? Me and him were talking about 7-OH pills, which is the last phase of this Kratom evolution. And 7-OH is new. And I mean very new. I remember the first smoke shop I saw it in LA a year and a half ago. And at this time, maybe once or twice a week, me and my friends would take half a pill and just unwind and have a good time chilling. But then month after month, I saw that 7-OH was in more smoke shops until it was in almost every smoke shop. And then it expanded even to every gas station. When I moved to Oregon, it was in literally every single smoke shop gas station that I could see. There was signs, and as 7-OH picked up more steam, so did my use of it. I went from doing half of a pill to maybe doing a full pill twice a week to, I've earned it, maybe a pill every other day. And then it got to the point where I was doing a pill every single night before I went to sleep. Here's just some of the packaging I've collected over the last few months. Yikes. And as we just heard, some people have had an addiction where they're doing 10 pills every single day. But even at my smaller addiction of 1 pill a day, when I decided to stop,
it's 3 a.m. My body is in so much pain. It feels like how I would imagine 90s feels, like every joint, bone in my body, all the sore things on my legs, like it's just like, I'm gonna try to get to sleep. I don't think I'm gonna fall asleep very good, but
withdrawal syndrome, my good old friend. I tracked every day of my withdrawal, describing the feeling, and if you guys want, I can post a video on my second channel, Very Niche Meta, about the process. Withdrawal it's not as scary as a lot of people think. Most people actually can relate to the feeling. Depends on the substance and how deep you are and how long, and that's not what I want to talk about right now. What I want to talk about is the symptoms that I described and felt
were runny nose, body aches and pains, couldn't fall asleep. Those are symptoms of an opioid withdrawal. But the problem with that is that 7-OH is not kratom. 7-OH doesn't have any mitragynine, that atypical opioid, in it. So what the fuck is 7-OH?
As far as like how 7-hydroxy is actually like made in the industry, let's say in America, is it usually the same way of just they get mitragynine, they'll just get like the mitragynine from kratom, and then they convert that in like mass amounts and then put that in pills?
Exactly. So, and that's what we call like a semi-synthetic, because the mitragynine was extracted from the plant and then we convert it.
This is my new friend Ariana, and she's a very talented chemist who has actually worked in these labs where 7-O is made. Now, what 7-O is actually a slang term that has kind of came up over the last year or so for the full name of this chemical, which is 7-hydroxymitragynine. You might hear that name and think, oh, 7-O must be related to mitragynine based on the name, and you would be correct. You see, mitragynine, or kratom, when you consume it, part of that mitragynine actually gets converted into 7-hydroxymitragynine by your body. And 7-O, 7-hydroxymitragynine, is another partial mu-opioid receptor agonist, similar to mitragynine, but it is stronger. So in the spirit of our hyper-capitalistic, always finding the better, best, most potent high, we made 7-OH from mitragynine, which was already fucking strong. And why exactly it's stronger than mitragynine, I don't know. I think it's got something to do with the affinity versus the efficacy on the mu-opioid receptor. Tried to read studies on it. Honestly, I don't really know too much about that stuff yet. I'll get there, but right now, reading it now, it's like, well, that's a lot of numbers I don't understand. But it's stronger. Okay, let's try it. And I'm not excited to try it. I don't care, actually. I don't want to try it. Okay, let's try it. Kidding, jokes, haha. Kind of. Okay, so, since the government is trying to schedule 7-O as a Schedule 1 substance, and I don't want any smoke with the government or YouTube, I'm not going to do or try anything right now. But hypothetically, if I were to be doing something right now, which I'm not, it would be a 20 milligram tablet of 7-O, which doesn't matter because that's not what I'm doing. I'm doing nothing right now. That's a tasty drink. Can't prove shit. Okay, it has been 25 minutes and I am feeling it, hypothetically. One of the first signs is, goodness gracious, I am itchy. So itchy, my everything. I feel almost a bit energized, but also relaxed at the same time. I'm very hot, actually I don't even want this blanket anymore. Very irritable, but I'm feeling very good. It's a strong feeling of euphoria, of relaxation, of like a really good old big hug. But just hearing my voice is kind of annoying. When I get like this, I actually, personally, any empathy that I do have, goes out the window. I become very irritable and just kind of dismissive. Okay, it's been an hour. It's fucking hot. I have major dry mouth. Even more irritable, I just kind of feel like a dick, so itchy, a bit of nausea, and I don't have any tolerance. I haven't done this stuff in a while, and so 20 milligrams is a bit of a high dose, so I'm really feeling it. And doing this whole filming thing right now is actually really difficult. This is like the 20th take of this one sentence. I just get really scatterbrained on this stuff, and I know you're thinking, when does the fun part start? It's hard to describe because it's this feeling of peace that I really can't describe. It's this optimism, but also this indifference. So what I think would be fun is while I'm in this altered state, hypothetically, to clarify, this is a bit of a bit because I'm not actually doing anything illegal whatsoever. If I were admitting to anything, which I'm not, I'm just like, I'm in a state where it's totally legal. It's currently legal right now. I'm not admitting to anything. I'm just saying if I was admitting to something, it wouldn't actually be a problem. Let's talk about what we should do as a culture or government about this kratom stuff or extracts or 7-O, because I have some ideas that I think you might like. So sorry, last interjection. This is just my opinion. I could be wrong. This is just my opinion. What the fuck do I know? I just wanted to, this is just what I think. I could be wrong. As far as kratom powder or kratom leaf or unprocessed kratom, I think it should stay legal, but I would add 2 caveats. An age restriction of 18 plus,
and a warning label saying, warning, this stuff is addictive, similar to how we have that on nicotine products. It is a natural, unprocessed leaf that is objectively useful in a lot of cases with a very good safety profile. Also, the last thing we need to be doing in the middle of an opioid epidemic where people are actually dying from things being laced with fentanyl is remove a safer alternative for these people to get out of their addiction. But also, not everything has to have a medicinal reason for it being legal. I think it's worth saying it's my right if I want to just have fun with this stuff, which is okay to do. And to address the addictive point, yes, kratom powder can be addictive for some people, but reminder, just because something can be addictive does not mean that it is inherently bad or dangerous. Nicotine is very addictive, but generally speaking, it's also pretty safe. Many of you are addicted to caffeine and will have withdrawal if you stop cold turkey. Does that mean that it's killing you or ruining your life? No. And just like we discussed earlier, it takes time for a culture or society to settle down with a new substance they get introduced to. Next, kratom shots and kratom extracts. Because they are so accessible and convenient and potent, it can lend themselves to getting people addicted much faster, the general population who wouldn't ordinarily maybe get addicted to something like kratom powder. So even though they're the same compounds, they can be inherently more addictive because of that convenience. Personally, I think an 18 plus, also a warning label of this can be addictive. And based on my political views, that's where I would stop. I think there's personal accountability. Sometimes people get addicted to stuff. That's on them. That's not on blaming it on the drug. Like, that's on them. But let's say you're more conservative and that's not enough. I have a great alternative for you. You can treat it like ephedra. Ephedra is another psychoactive plant that if you make a tea out of this, it is very exhilarating. This is actually where we get meth from originally. It's like coffee, but way more intense. And this is 100% legal to own in America. But if you make an extract like this from this, this is not. From my understanding, this is not illegal to own, but you cannot have marketing claims like advanced fat burner or good for energy or any of those advertisements. That's illegal to protect the public. You can do the same with kratom. You can make them stop saying things like be happy or relief or all this shit. You can just make them say, this is kratom, period. And with a massive warning of this contains kratom, can be addictive, I think that would single-handedly save a lot of people who don't do their research from unsuspectingly getting hooked on this. And if you're really, really conservative, you can make it so you have to have a license to sell this, kind of like cannabis. But, you know, if you're that conservative, I don't know, I don't think you're watching this video. But those are solutions that I wouldn't totally be against. And lastly, 7-OH. What do we do? It's worth noting what I'm feeling right now, this is not kratom. Kratom has a certain feel. This feels, honestly, like a typical opioid. If you were to give me this and say, hey, that's a Norco or that's an Oxy, I'd go, okay, that sounds about right, that's what I'm feeling. So to put them in the same category as kratom is just unfair. This is just a different level. This is a hard one, and honestly, this is where I get a little conservative because I agree. I think the 7-OH shit is kind of fucked. I think having pills that are this addictive at like every gas station, it's a bit much. Like I honestly, it's a bit much. I don't love that. I think something needs to be done. But I think scheduling it as Schedule 1 is the most R-worded thing they could have done. I thought we were all on the same page here. I thought we all agreed that the war on drugs is fucking stupid and doesn't work. It does not stop people from doing drugs. It is just a stupid idea that didn't work, and now we're doing it again. Reminder that Schedule 1 drug classification is by definition for drugs that have little to no medicinal value at all, and 7-OH definitely has a fuck ton of medicinal value. By making it illegal, we stop so much good research from going into how we can use this stuff as an alternative to opiates, which is exactly what we need right now. And on the off chance that you are a government member or a senator watching this right now, listen to me very carefully. If we make 7-OH illegal, we are about to put a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people's lives at risk. And I'll tell you exactly how. If we make the molecule 7-hydroxymitragynine illegal, what chemists will do is they will look at that compound and say, got it, that's technically illegal. But if I add a fluorine group here, or a methyl group here, or I slightly tweak this molecule a little bit, so it's not technically 7-OH anymore, then I can put it on the shelves and sell that because it'll give a similar high. But the problem is, we don't know anything about this chemical because it's a brand new chemical. It could have unknown risks. That's called a research chemical. And why I know that's gonna happen is because that has already happened. Once they ban 7-OH, that's no problem because MGM-15, a new molecule that has a similar effect, is gonna come and take its place. And do you know the safety profile of MGM-15? Because I don't. So Senator, you might be thinking, well then we'll just ban that. Okay, well then they're gonna go and make MGM-16 or MGM-18 or fluorine MGM or whatever. And the chase just happens, and it's going to get farther and farther and more in mystery and dangerous until we're taking stuff that we have absolutely no idea what it is doing in our body. And how I know that'll happen is that is exactly what happened with K2 spice back in the early 2000s. Google it, we don't really have time to explain that because I want to give you solutions that could actually help this situation. First one off the top of my head, you can make it so you need a license to sell 7-OH products. This would immediately restrict a ton of small ma and pa shops from even trying to sell 7-OH, which would drastically decrease the accessibility of 7-OH. So it's not at every gas station, so it's not at every smoke shop. You would have to go to a certain place to get it. Second idea, taxing the fuck out of it. Third idea, you can actually treat it similar to Sudafed, the stuff that people used to use to make meth. You can put a cap on how much someone can buy per day or per week or per month. No, I actually kind of like that idea. If you have an alternative idea, put it in the comment section. I'm sure there's tons of problems with the solutions I just gave, but I know for a fact that they're better than scheduling it as Schedule 1. At the bare minimum, schedule it at Schedule 4 so people can actually put research into understanding how we use this stuff. Like Schedule 4, that's what tramadol's in, which is another opioid analgesic. It's an atypical opioid. Living through something getting scheduled like this, that I've tried and all that, is just so fucking weird because you understand how bullshit the scheduling is and how it's just, they didn't do any research on this. They don't understand a fucking thing about this stuff. They literally just go, oh, there's a problem. Let's do the dumbest, easiest solution we can think of, which is schedule as Schedule 1. I'm also just scared for all the people who are really deep in their 7-OH addiction and them going cold turkey. Like I'm assuming that a lot of them will go to the street and get some fent and heroin to get their, so they don't have to go through withdrawal. Like this is like serious, and they don't care. They just don't. And that's the problem. They just don't care. In other news, I will be in Peru for the next few months studying ethnobotany. So this channel is gonna have a lot of cool upcoming videos about the ethnobotany of coca, of ayahuasca, of Amazonian tribes and cultures. So if you're in Peru, if you're in Iquitos, or if you're in Lima or Cusco, hit me up, please. I'm trying to have every connection I possibly can, make friends, do cool videos. If you're part of a cool culture that you want to represent, please let me know. Or if you know someone, like, please. Peace! Mwah.